All right, we are in the pregame warm-ups here, the pre-show, if you will, if you want to call it that. I don't know if you do or you don't, but either way, it's what you got. This is going to be a quick weather update today on YouTube Live. How about that? I haven't done a lot of these exclusively on YouTube yet. A lot of it has been on Facebook, but wanted to change it up a little today. And with that in mind, that's exactly what we're going to do is change it up a little bit here. So, Josh Johnson here. Let's talk weather, my favorite topic. So, we will begin with a look into next week because warmer air is on the way and potentially some storms. So, let's get right to it here. This is the latest run of the European computer model. And you see what I see here. We'll come down a little bit here. This is the Euro valid essentially right now. Big trough in the east, that means a quick shot of cold air. But notice how steep this trough is. The more it's shaped like a V, the narrower it is, the more brief this cold wave is. And that's exactly what we're dealing with this. This is not going to be something that lasts a long time. Let's scroll forward here quickly. Snow showers across the Smokies tomorrow. Upslope snow, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. If you have travel plans there Friday, expect some snowy roads. It's not as big as the last storm they got, though. A couple of inches. Most of next week's dry. We'll put a small chance of some showers in here Tuesday night into Wednesday. The global models are sort of in disagreement about exactly what that looks like, but they both sort of have some picture of a shower or two. But watch what happens when we get out here towards the end of next week. Some evidence of an area of low pressure going with some storms. Now, a couple of things. The trend this year so far has been for these troughs, this one's centered over the mid-Atlantic, to actually end up trending west as we get closer to an event. So that argues against storms. That's a good thing, right? And this specific run, we get a surface low down in the Gulf, but it's really not until a day or two later, out towards the middle of the following week, that you see that big, strong area of low pressure and a lot of warm air in here. So from a storm threat, just know this morning's European computer model really is not on board with that idea at all. It keeps the surface low shunted to the south pretty severely there. Again, this is out towards Saturday the 14th, Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, keeps the surface low down here, but I would caution you that the other trend is a lot of times these surface lows have trended north, and that's actually how we wound up with severe weather a couple of weeks ago, was with a system that originally looked like it would stay in the Gulf, but wound up coming north with time. So that's my suspicion here, is that this would do something similar to that. So the Euro really is not terribly impressive, concerning, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to the risk of some severe weather. Let me show you the American long-range model. This is the GFS. Now, last night, it was a little more problematic, but let me show you what it has here. So we'll go back in time here to, there's your rain chance Tuesday night into Wednesday. See that there? Then you get ahead. It's a little cooler out towards next Thursday, Friday. And the GFS, eventually, same sort of thing. It tries to get that surface low going, but it does it later and into next week. So the morning runs here really not as supportive for any sort of severe weather prospects out at the end of next week. Yesterday's runs, last night's runs, we saw a signal in there, but that signal, I would argue, has gotten a little weaker today. None of this is unusual, by the way. These when you're talking weather 7, 8, 9 days in advance, the details are going to shift around. But just understand that, personally, anytime we start to see 70s for a consistent stretch in February with an active jet stream, you do have to kind of think about the idea of a few stronger severe storms. So for now, know that there's no screaming message in the data, that we're just sort of seeing a weak and inconsistent signal. Again, for those of you who have watched these briefings before, the message that I preach is, when you're forecasting anything past, say, 5 days out, what we look for are consistency and agreement. Think about those two things as if I was investigating a crime as a police officer and I had 5 people that I wanted to question. And I'm going to start out by asking one person the same question 5 times. Does he answer that question the same way all 5 times, or does the story change a little? That's consistency, right? Now, what if I question all 5 people? And do all 5 of those people agree with each other? That's agreement. In the world of weather, we look at that, but instead of questioning people, we are looking at computer models. And that little tidbit, that little analogy can help you understand long range weather forecasts better than most people. Heck, better than some meteorologists, if we're being real here, which we are always being real here. If you search for consistency and agreement in the data, that's when you'll know when to start beating the drum and when to not. Now, at this point, this was a weak signal that in the very next run it disappeared. Look, let me show you this. This is last night's run of the long range American model, the GFS, and it showed an almost entirely different idea with a big deep surface low over southern Illinois, trailing cold front, tons of warm air advection, snowstorm on the north side, and probably a pretty significant tornado risk for Friday, February the 13th and Saturday, February the 14th over most of the deep south. But again, this all then shifted. The very next, 2 runs later, it was gone. Let's look at this. This was the overnight run of the GFS. It had the same thing, right? Big, deep surface low, trailing cold front, snowstorm on the north end of it, and then a big severe weather episode for Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Then the new data came in this morning and said, wait, what? What are you talking about? It sees none of the above. It actually turns us a little colder out at the end of next week. Then we get a kind of a weaker system with some rain. And then potentially a few days later, you could get into some storm issues. So bottom line here is this, and this is the reason I'm doing this YouTube briefing. Just understand that you are going to hear and see all sorts of crazy things about storm systems 8, 9, 10 days in advance. But until you have consistency and agreement, there's no reason at all for you to make any sort of decisions based on those early signals. And I'll talk about those signals. And the reason I do that is because other people are doing it, and they're doing it in a really irresponsible way. They do it in a way where they know you're going to share it. It scares you to death. And that's why I've spent many hours so far this winter talking about snowstorms that never happened in central Alabama. The latest one was we're supposed to get a big snow around February the 12th. That's ridiculous. The high temperature February 12th is going to be 73 degrees. The people who got you all worked up about that did not look for consistency and agreement. And so they gave you just raw model output, which turned out to be very poor. So how does this all tie into storms at the end of next week? There's a signal. Yeah, right now we don't have any consistency and we don't have much agreement either. Yesterday we actually did have consistency and agreement. Today, not as much, right? This has trended back in a little different direction. Now what we will look for, we will get a new run of the GFS around 4:30 this afternoon. We'll get a new run of the European computer model that goes out this far tonight around midnight. So we will continue the constant search for consistency and agreement. So that's the way this whole thing's going down. Now, in terms of temperatures, check this out. This is the long-range European data. So the weekend ahead, cool, not cold, highs in the 50s and 60s, lows in the 20s and 30s. That's a couple of degrees below normal, but it's actually, that's within the range of what you would expect. Then a big, pretty warm up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, highs in the upper 60s and low 70s. And then a cool down to follow after that. Again, this is a wholesale change from yesterday. Look at this. This is today's run. Here's what it had yesterday. It kept us warm through the 13th with some storms out there. Now that again has shifted. There's excellent agreement on the details of the forecast between now and Thursday of next week, but after Thursday, that agreement goes way downhill. While we're out here, let's look for this is the Euro Ensemble snowfall for Montgomery, Alabama. 0 out of 50 members have any risk of snow through 19 February. That doesn't mean it's not going to snow. That means there's absolutely no reliable signal in the data right now supporting that idea. Here's the European ensembles. And one thing I will point out on this, we may need to lower our forecast highs for Saturday and Sunday. That's been a recent trend in the data that we've seen is for a cooler Saturday and Sunday for this weekend. I'm talking day after tomorrow, the 7th and the 8th of February. So that's something I will talk through as a weather team, Nick, Amanda, and Madeline. And I will hash that out as we get into the afternoon hours. The GFS ensemble mean is a little warmer, but not much. It still has highs in the 50s on Saturday. So we may need to make those adjustments. That's not unusual, by the way. Forecast adjustments like that are a dime a dozen. even a couple of days out. We'll mess around with the numbers a little bit, but the idea is still the same. This weekend's going to be a lot warmer than last weekend. Highs will be in the 50s on Saturday, and then upper 50s to low 60s on Sunday. The nights and mornings will still be chilly, and the afternoons will be cool, not cold. Then a big warm up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Beyond that, there's really not enough consistency and agreement to have any sort of firm ideas on this thing yet. So that's where we stand as of this hour. We've got an active weather pattern, right, with all sorts of crazy things happening in it. Cool but not cold this weekend. Big, pretty warm up after that. And then the potential is still there, I think, for some storms at the end of next week. But right now, that is a very uncertain outlook. And if you see something that says tornado outbreak in Alabama next weekend, understand right now, as of February the 5th, the data does not support that idea. Again, we look at the choir. The data you're seeing right now is really 50 individual computers averaged together. It's a choir. Individual singers, sometimes they don't hit the notes. Sometimes their voice cracks. Computer models are the same way. If you look at just one individual run of one computer, you are always going to be able to find some really weird stuff. So let me just caution you against getting all worked up around and about that. So, all right, there you have it. Appreciate you as always. Thanks so much for watching this special YouTube Live. We're now 11 minutes in. This is pretty fun. If you have any comments, ideas, questions, all of that jazz, just let me know, right? I'll hang around for another couple of minutes and see if we have anything on that front. Long-range stuff does show a little pop of some cooler air out towards the February 15th to 20th time frame, but again, there's really not a lot of consistency and agreement in that idea either. I don't think winter's over yet. If you're looking for snow or ice chances, I think you may end up, late February, early March. That could be, we could have one last stand. I suspect our coldest weather is behind us. That means no more days with afternoon temperatures in the 20s, right? I mean, that's what we had so far this winter. But history tells me that we probably will end up with at least some form of a wintry weather threat somewhere in the southeast, late February, early March. But we'll see. Drought monitor. This is the new drought map that's out. Look at this. You've got severe drought that covers most of South Alabama and Southeast Alabama. Then you have D3 extreme drought over parts of Lee, Macon, and Russell counties. So the drought scenario, frankly, has not gotten any better in this whole mess. So we really do sorely need some rain across the state. And with any luck, we'll get it soon there. This is the GFS run from this morning. We've already gone over all of that. Really no big surprises there. The one forecast kind of messaging part of this that I think we do need to talk through is what happens with the high temperatures this weekend across the southern half of the state. The latest data is, indisputably it's trended down a little. So when you see my forecast tonight on WSFA 12 News at 5, 6, and 10, you'll probably see that mentioned. And you'll probably see the numbers trend down, even if just a little bit, right? So that's the lay of the land as of this hour. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this YouTube Live. I'll leave this up on the YouTube channel. I'll probably post a separate video update on Facebook. And, of course, I keep all the socials updated essentially all day. You can get weather information on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube just by going to Josh Johnson Weather. On Facebook, it's Josh Johnson WSFA, and on the X, formerly known as Twitter, I'm on there as Josh Weather. So I would invite you to follow along on all those social media platforms to get reliable weather updates. I will not always be right, but I will always tell you what the data supports, right? We won't get you all riled up for no reason. All right, everyone, have a great day. Take care. Stay warm. By the way, it's cold tonight. You do not need the drip faucets tonight, so don't worry about that. But it is chilly tonight. Upper 20s, low 30s. Highs this afternoon are only in the 40s, and it's windy, too, to boot. So a cold go of things tonight and tomorrow morning before a gradual warm-up. It's still coolish Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a big warm-up Monday,